Hi friends, I thought I would bring you guys a video today to cover how to practice yoga, or how I practice yoga when I'm having a bit of a flare-up and I feel very dizzy. And so this is really great for someone with POTS. It's also great for other chronic illnesses that maybe just cause a lot of fatigue. But my main focus is to avoid standing, because that's very triggering for people with POTS when they're having a flare-up. So we'll go ahead and start on our backs, and if you have blocks, grab them, put them off to the side. They really are helpful, especially when you're staying low to the ground, so you have something to bring your hands to. But roll over to your back, and then step your feet about as wide as your mat. Knees can come to touch. Bring your right hand to your belly, your left hand to your heart. And just breathe here. Something to remember when you're dealing with a chronic illness flare-up is to really honor your body, and it can be really easy to check out as a way to cope. I know I've done that, checking out, just going somewhere else in your mind. But it's much more effective to stay in our bodies, to feel our bodies, and that's really hard when you're dealing with pain. But if you can stay in your body for this 15-20 minutes, however long we take, go ahead and do that. As you inhale, really fill up your lungs. Feel the expansion in your chest and your belly. Exhale, release. Take a moment to notice how your joints feel. Staying present if you can. And set an intention here to honor your body, to be present, and to not push yourself further than is good for you today. So while this practice is designed to cater to people who maybe need to move a little bit of slower today, and maybe avoiding standing and avoiding anything too strenuous, this still might not be what your body needs today, and it's on you to recognize if it feels good or not. So please, please, please pay attention to how you're feeling, and don't worsen a flare-up just to achieve a fitness video. Bring your arms wide to a T, and then as you exhale, begin to windshield wiper your legs, just sending your knees a little bit side to side. And this can be really soft. It can also be bigger if you are feeling up to it. You might even include the head as well, looking the same direction as your knees, or if it feels good, you can do opposites. Notice how this is feeling in your hips, your lower back. And then on your next exhale, whichever side you're on, pause there. Come up through center, go to the other side, and pause there. And then come back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest, give them a squeeze. And then as you inhale, push your knees away. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, create space, push your knees away. Exhale, squeeze in. And keep doing this, moving at your own pace, moving with your breath, and really slowing it down if it feels good. This is called Apanasana. Take one or two more. Now begin to make some small circles, going clockwise with your knees. And reverse the direction. Come back to center and send your feet straight up for waterfall. So feet are over your hips, and if you find you're really having to activate the core for this, that's totally fine, but if it's a bit much, you can bring your feet up a little bit closer. And if you're still struggling with this, you have a couple of options. You can grab your block, plant your feet into the mat, lift your hips up, and then slide the block on the lowest section, the lowest height, right up underneath your sacrum, that flat part of your lower back. Send your feet straight up again. So that will hopefully alleviate any intense activation of the abs if that's not what you're needing today. Another option is to just go up against a wall and put your feet up on the wall. So it's a bit more restorative that way. We'll be here for a minute or two. So whichever version you choose, maybe bring your arms wide, or you can again bring them to belly and heart, or interlace them on your belly. And if you deal with POTS or really any form of dysautonomia, this is an excellent pose to help alleviate some of those symptoms. And no, I'm not saying that yoga will cure your POTS, because if I had figured out how to cure POTS with yoga, I would have done that a while back. But when I'm feeling dizzy, this pose really does help, bringing all the blood back up to the head. Take about 10 more breaths here. Begin to hug your knees back into your chest. And we'll move into happy baby. So for this one, you'll reach for the outside edges of your feet and kick into your hands. And your knees are kind of coming up near your shoulders. Now, if you can't reach your feet, or if this doesn't feel good, you can always grab the backs of your thighs, or you can stay hugging your knees into your chest. But the hip opening aspect of happy baby does feel really nice. So if it feels okay for your body, then try it. And you can kick a little side to side, but try really hard to root down through your lower back here, engaging your navel to spine. Take 3 more breaths here. Begin to release. Step your feet to the mat and roll to one side. Push your way up and come to a seat on your mat. Now send your left leg out to the side. Bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. Reach your arms up overhead. Twist to your left leg and just fold forward. This is called Sukhasana, or a variation of it. Take one more breath here. And slowly roll up. You have a couple of options for a counter pose. You can plant your right hand off to the right side and reach your left arm up and over to the right side as well to get a little bit of a stretch through the left side of your body. And if it feels good for you, and this is different for everyone, if you're really dizzy, you might not want to do this, but if you're feeling up to it, you can push into your right hand and your right shin and reach up and back for a little stargazer. And then sit back down. Now send your right leg out to the side, sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Reach your arms up overhead, turn to your right side and fold. One more breath here. And then push your way up. Left hand plants behind you. You can reach your right arm up and back for a little stretch, or push into your left hand and your left shin and lift your hips up if it feels okay. And then sit back down. And then swing your legs around, roll over to your hands and knees, come to a tabletop position. So shoulders under your, shoulders over your wrists, hips are over your knees. Really push into the floor. Fire up through the quads, the lower belly, lengthen the back. And then as you inhale, let your heart come forward, gaze will come forward. Exhale, curve your spine, push into the mat, find your cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale, cat. Take 2 or 3 more on your own breath, really opening through the heart space on your cows and really pushing into the mat, curving through the spine on your cat. And then come to a neutral spine. Bring your big toes to touch. Knees will come as wide as feels good for you. Send your hips back over your heels. And then walk your hands forward, coming to your child's pose. Forehead can either come to the ground or maybe even on a block if that feels better. We'll be here for several breaths. Begin to walk your hands back. Come up to your tabletop whenever you're ready. And pause there. Take your time. From your tabletop, we'll move into a low lunge. So step the right foot forward. And you can actually do this a couple of ways. So if you have the room to just step forward, do so. Otherwise, you can step your foot to the outside of your hand, heel toe it in, and then come to your lunge. I'm going to do my right foot. And so we'll keep the upper body low, unless you feel like coming up, you can, but if you're feeling a bit dizzy, it might feel good to keep the upper body a little bit low, and blocks really come in handy here if you have them to bring the floor up to you, just to create a little bit of space. Focus on softening your hips forward and letting your spine be long here. Even the back of your neck can be a little bit long. Take one more breath here. We'll be transitioning up a little bit from here. So tent your fingertips on your blocks or bring them to a higher height for a little bit of support. And then kickstand your left foot off to the right side. So you're kind of in this awkward, open kind of lunge. Then bring your right forearm to your right thigh and your left hand to your left hip. So you're in a lunge, sideways kind of shape. And you may need to adjust a little bit if there's a lot of pressure on your knee to get it just right. So I'll move my block so you can see me. I have my right knee bent, right forearm on my thigh. My left knee is on the ground and my left hand's on my hips. And so this is kind of like extended side angle if you've done a vinyasa flow class before. And that pose is normally done with both feet on the ground, but to prevent too much elevation, in case you're feeling a bit dizzy, I don't want you to fall, we'll stay low to the ground here. And so the same way you would do in a vinyasa class, instead of rolling forward, try to stack your shoulders, left shoulder over your right, lengthen through the spine. You might even gaze over your left shoulder if you can. Keep pushing into your right foot. A big difference here between this pose and the standing posture is that you probably have a little bit more of your weight in the front foot than you would in the standing posture, because the knee can only take so much. All right, now look at your right big toe and send your left hand out behind you. If you feel up to it and you want to play with a variation of Warrior Two, you can lift your right hand as well. Otherwise, you can keep it on your shin or on your thigh for support. But you have the option to reach your right hand forward and gaze over your right fingertips for a little variation of Warrior Two here. And then windmill your arms down to frame your front foot, grabbing your blocks if you need to. Parallel your back leg to the long side of the mat. So unhinge it. And then straighten out your right leg, fold in for a little half split. And this can be motion or static. You've got 3 or 4 breaths here, so feel free to fold and hold or to move around in it. And then come back to your tabletop. All right, I'm going to turn to face the other way so you guys can see me. From table, step the left foot forward, coming to your lunge. Grab your blocks if you use them. Right leg's long behind you. knee on the mat, and then lengthen your spine and soften your hips forward. And take a moment to notice if this side feels different for you. I know for me it does. This side is a bit more difficult, a little bit more tight. Take one more breath here. And then bring your blocks up to a higher height if you'd like. Kickstand your right foot off to the left side. And then bring your left forearm to your left thigh. Right hand to your right hip. And again, you're stacking your shoulders here, not folding forward. Opening it up. Long through the spine. Maybe you gaze over the right shoulder. Gaze at your left big toe. Send your right hand off to the back of the mat. And then if you would like to play with the warrior two, if you feel stable enough today, then lift your left hand and gaze over your left fingertips. And then windmill your arms down to frame your blocks. Straighten out your back leg. I don't know if you heard my knee pop, but it was a loud one. And then straighten out your left leg, fold in. And you can, again, bend and straighten, or just fold and hold. And if your left leg is straight, begin to bend back into your left knee and come back to your tabletop. So hips over your knees, wrists under your shoulders. We'll move into a puppy pose next. So just walk your hands forward, forehead towards the earth. Hips are gonna stay over your knees. And again, you can bring blocks underneath your forehead in any of these poses where our forehead touches the mat. So you can always bring the mat up to you with a little bit of support from your block. Begin to walk your hands back up underneath your shoulders and then come to a seat. And we'll come to a forward fold next. So send both feet out in front of you, just straight in front of you. Reach your arms up overhead, wiggle up onto your sits bones if you need to. Some people even suggest lifting, for a lack of a better way to say this, lifting the butt cheeks and pulling them back. I don't love that personally because I feel like it can be a bit aggressive, but if it feels good for you, feel free to do that. Reach your arms up overhead and then just fold straight forward. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine a little bit, staying in the fold. Exhale, release, fold further. On your next inhale, slowly roll up, and then lay all the way down on your mat. We'll move into twisted roots next. So plant your feet into the mat, cross your right knee over your left, and then send both legs over to the left. Arms can come wide here, and you can bring your right hand to your leg if that feels better. Sorry, your left hand to your leg, or your right leg if that feels better, or you can keep it open wide. Give yourself a bit of compassion in this moment for pushing through a dizzy day, caring for your body, even when your body makes it so hard. Take a breath here. And then on your next exhale, begin to unwind, step both feet to the mat, and pause in the center. When you're ready, you can move to the other side. Cross your left leg over your right. Send both legs over to the right. Right hand can come to your left knee, or maybe out to the side. And then on your next inhale, come back to center, step both feet to the mat. We'll move into a bridge pose, so plant both feet, push into your feet, lift your hips up. If this is not working for you, you have the option to make this a supported bridge by grabbing your block, placing it up under your sacrum, and lowering down onto it. And then you're still getting the benefits of the gentle inversion and heart opening. Otherwise, keep pushing into your feet, lifting your hips. You've got 3 more breaths here. Lift your heels, slowly lower down, vertebra by vertebra. And pause. We'll do that one more time. Push into your feet, lift your hips up. Option to support yourself with a block. And then lift your heels, slowly lower down. Step your feet as wide as your mat, knees will come to touch for the constructive rest that we started in at the beginning of our practice. And again, bring your right hand to your belly, left hand to your heart. Bring your arms as wide as you can. Gently windshield wipe your knees side to side. And then send your feet straight up for waterfall once more. Take 2 more breaths here. And then let your knees come into your chest. Give yourself a hug, squeezing the knees. Roll around a little if it feels good, or find stillness if that's better for you right now. And then we'll be moving into our Shavasana. And so you can let your legs come long onto the mat. Arms can come down by your side. We'll be here for just a few minutes. It was a short practice, so we'll do 4 minutes. And you can close your eyes if it feels good. Arms down by your side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release. Give yourself this time to fully relax and to turn inward, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out of it. Begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And then shake your head side to side. Step your feet to the mat one at a time. And then roll to your side and push up to a seat. And come to Sukhasana, crossing your legs, or any other seat that you find comfortable. Reach your arms up overhead as you inhale. Exhale, bring them to heart center. I invite you to join me for a round of Om as we close our practice. Inhale for Om. Thank you so much for joining me today and for pushing through. What a warrior you are. It can be so difficult to find movement on days that we're having a flare-up with POTS or any other chronic illness. It's so difficult to push through, and I think that sometimes people don't realize that. So I'd like to take a moment to congratulate you on that. Finding that movement in a creative way on maybe a difficult day. And I hope that maybe tomorrow you feel a little bit better and maybe you can do one of my other videos. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.